Si. C'est pas mal là, on a une bonne lumière. Attendez, I'm gonna do some. I just bought myself a tripod for my iPhone. I'm very happy.
You know that Blaze, you know that you're live in front of like 100 people already. Yeah?
No, it's not true. He told me already that you are recording.
We're live on YouTube. Millions of people watching. How are you, mate?
Sí está bueno esto, ¿eh? Lo acabo de comprar. I'm very good. I'm actually inaugurating my new Jabra speaker, but you'll have to remove this because we should not mention any brands.
Don't worry.
At the restaurant, the initial restaurant. I'm here at Billy Brunch, the first restaurant I opened in May 2018. Okay. Today I was actually working at the new Billy Brunch and Garden. But I came here because it's like the mother house for me. It's like the cradle of the brand.
Amazing. Okay, so let's start this. Let's get this started. Okay, so welcome. Here we are again. Hi.
Welcome.
Yes.
Hello, guys.
Another Cracking the Kode here with our special guest this week. We're gonna talk with okay, you say it's Billy, but can you please introduce who you really are and who you became over the past couple of
years?
Sure, it's a pleasure, and thank you for having me, guys. First of all, there's nothing special about me. We'll figure out along this interview. I'm a Swiss guy, moved in Barcelona 5 years ago. I was born in 1988 in a small village close to Neuchâtel city. I'm what we call a boy from the countryside. I grew up with cows and chicken in the garden next door, visit farms in my childhood. And I believe it's something that definitely reflects on my brand. So I'm in Barcelona for 5 years. I have a hotel school background. I studied hospitality. I studied in Switzerland in a small school and then moved to Dubai, where I worked in some of the best palaces in town, mostly French leaded. So I believe that we
let's take that as a positive. Let's take that as a positive.
5-star French service. Hey, I'll just close the door.
No problem.
Come on, French. See?
I mean,
we are French are good in hospitality, right?
No, 100%. I mean,
you
some
can't
of the
say
best chefs.
yeah.
No, I can't say I have nothing against French. I only have something against you.
I'm just saying.
I actually do because they often misinterpret me for being French, and I always like to mention
is that a good thing or what? Obviously you're Swiss, right? But what are the first questions actually? How do you like being judged as French or? I mean, and be free. Just
he's
say
not judged as French. He's from Switzerland. It's not the same. We just have the same
people
language.
think he's French, right? People think he's French.
I think I don't mind. I don't mind. Actually, Barcelona is having a huge French community here, and it's definitely a good community. It contributed a lot to the development of the city. It's a lot of entrepreneurs, it's a lot of firms, French firms coming here. And to me, the mixed city is the key of osmosis and pleasant living. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important to have mixed city in some places, especially for my business.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So look, you started, you built this business 2018. Now you probably have 1 million employees and God knows how many locations. I mean,
I just hired my 151st employee today. No. Wow. I have at the moment I have 23 staff. We work that are spread between 2 restaurants. I own 2 restaurants and 1 coffee shop. But at the moment, due to the circumstances, the coffee shop is closed.
Okay. So you did all of this by your own, right? Like a solo entrepreneur?
Yes, of course. But at first, when I opened in May 2018, I was myself with the barman, a cook, and one extra in the weekend. We were 4. But quick enough, we had to be many in the weekend because the weekend really picked up. And I think soon enough, we were like 12, 13.
Wow.
Then at the top of the first Billy Brunch in March, before the crisis, before opening number 2, so that was in March 2020, there were 19 employees. But now, because even though we opened a new restaurant and we're working at 50%, we still need more staff. But it's going well. Things are getting back slowly, but not surely. But at the moment, it's going well.
Yeah, exactly. How the go ahead.
No.
Santos.
No. Sorry, Miss Leah Durand. Why don't you go ahead and ask the question? Go.
Now I wanted to ask, like, during this period as COVID, did obviously, I guess yes, but did it impacted your business, and how did you manage, to keep it going?
I think luckily, COVID happened after 2 great years of operations. So along these 2 years, I think that we really accumulated a strong capital, and this allowed us to survive the crisis. The real challenge we had to face is that out of the 20 employees that we had in March, we could only keep about 5 at the beginning, and then 10, and only recently, after the first reopening, we could rehire mostly all the team. The objective was to rehire the staff that we had to lay off, but some of them were European. They had to go back to their countries. They had to go back to their homes, to their families, to help their families. Some of them had family members sick. So unfortunately, and we actually lost track of some staff. We tried to get back into with most of them, but some just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, though, in these times. So, one thing I'm curious about, obviously you mentioned that your inspiration came a lot from the cows and the chickens I used to play with, or eat, or do whatever you did with them when you were a kid. But tell us, like, what is, Billy Brunch itself? Okay, just explain, what is the concept? What is the idea? What's the target behind this successful brand?
I believe the initial idea was to reproduce, to have a place where I can receive my people, okay? And also have a place where people can experiment a 5-star service, but accessible to all. Because what we learn in 5-star hotels, it's the luxury service. But in other words, a luxury service is just a correct service because it's service how it should be. About timings, about courtesy, about flexibility, food quality, and after all, it's what just makes any place good or bad. But the idea was really to make this place reachable to all, having very reasonable prices, reducing our margins at most, and really focusing on the guest experience. What we're doing here, it's especially with the new place. So we started here with the Billy Brunch in May 2018 with a very small restaurant with a 45 seating capacity, and the new Billy Brunch and Garden has nearly doubled the capacity. The new Billy Brunch and Garden has an inside patio with chicken.
Yeah, you have a chicken, right?
And so we can have our own eggs that we can offer to the guests. We're really focusing on the family experience. Kids can come and get their eggs themselves, bring them back home, feed the animals. And I think the contact to the product and the contact to the animal is something extremely crucial within the early age. And this is something that we keep also in our line. So one part of the Billy Brunch concept is to reproduce this 5-star experience. And the other part, it was to really create a rustic, countryside-like atmosphere. to I think to reflect my background. I remember very well when I was a kid and we visited a farm in the outskirts of my city, and I actually got to taste the milk directly from the cow. So the farmer literally squeezed the milk in the glass and he gave it to me, and it was kind of yellowy, you know, and I remember this like it was yesterday. And so I came with a very rustic, very down-to-earth concept, and then you also evaluate with the guest. I remember my first guest asking me for soya milk and oat milk, and I would just be like, why don't you just go for cow milk? It's just what's best, you know?
Just go the regular stuff.
Yeah, but then you also get more, you inquire more into benefit of this new product, this superfood. And I believe that already at opening, the menu was extremely influenced by up-to-date superfood and so on. I remember that I had a very young friend back then, and she told me directly, like, you must have acai, you must have these vegan milks, you must have vegan. And actually along the years, we have been increasing the vegan offer, and it's something that really worked, and it's something that is suitable to all. We do very soul food here, and we, for example, had very long time Mauritian chicken curry. This is the background of our head chef, Didier Comol, who's also ex-coach. And well, he came up with few dishes, which, for example, the Mauritian chicken curry, which has become now a vegan curry, and it's as good and as satisfying as the other one. Actually, one of my favorite spots in Barcelona is a vegetarian restaurant, and it's a place I often go there. Even though, of course, I eat everything. I'm an omnivore.
You know, it's an interesting point, actually, because we saw a big influence of the vegan and vegetarian approach in the F&B, right? I mean, a lot of places started doing, but a lot of mistakes that were made, and I think you don't, which is quite interesting with your menu as well, is that, you know, if you're vegan, a lot of places, what do they do? They create a vegan burger, or they try and recreate something that's made of meat. Let's say they make it look like a meat-based product. You try and create more dishes based on original stuff, right? Like based on the actual.
Yes, of course. This is also related to my background. I wouldn't. I was grown with vegetable soup, with fruit salads, something that very common, fruit and veggie stuff. I think it's really what reflects as something like childhood comfort food. I wouldn't come up here with reproduced, processed food. We do, for example, we do here traditional British English breakfast. Okay, and very often people would ask us if we could replace the pork sausage and bacon with the vegan sausage and bacon, and this is something we don't do. We have a vegan alternative for the British English breakfast, but this will be avocado and sauteed spinach. This is our direction. However, I respect my competition who come up with this kind of alternatives. It's just another way of saying things, and I think
it's a choice, right? It's a choice.
Yes, of course.
So
okay, and well, I was asking before about the COVID impact and etc. Would you keep some like no, wait, what I wanted to ask. I have a brain freeze.
We're not cutting this. We're not cutting this out. I think like we live in this in. We live in this in. I think what he wanted to ask was
everything.
no editing here. No editing. It's gonna stay. I think what he wanted to ask was about, because we were talking about this yesterday, right? How many of these process? So obviously you had to adapt to COVID, right? You had to to sanitize your tables all the time. You have to gloves, blah blah blah. I mean, a lot of it was already part of a hygienic a method that the restaurants have. But which procedures are you going to keep? Like, is there something that you learned from COVID that actually helps and something that you're going to keep moving forward?
I believe there were different aspects with COVID. So the first one was people's safety. So that, of course, became a priority. the team safety, the guest safety. Okay, so that we followed the instruction of the government. We received precise instructions, and this, of course, will be followed in the future. I think also coming from a 5-star background, that we had very high standard of hygiene, staff hygiene, food hygiene, allergy safety, and so on. This is also one of the key to success. There was then another aspect of the COVID that was this rethink yourself, reinvent yourself. This is something I was against, okay? Because I'm always very optimistic, and I always thought that it's not because of the COVID that I have to change my strategy. We will not go delivery because it's not our line. We will not push takeaway because it's not our line. Because we create an experience. We don't want people to experience our food at home, because I believe that part of the experience here is the place, the playlist, the atmosphere, the kindness of the staff, and this you don't get home. I'm always checking my competitors' bad reviews, and I can see that a lot of them decrease their star rating because of takeaway and delivery that we didn't do, and that's probably something I was right to do. Now, hopefully things will get back to normal soon enough. At the moment, we're holding on.
But that's very interesting, because I'm going back to something you said earlier, very quickly, that you mentioned that you focus on having very small margins, and obviously you're focusing on the experience, which tells us that, ultimately you want growth. You want your brand to be, to have the growth. You're not focusing on the quick buck. You want growth. You want to have a very established brand and a very established identity, so to say. So you're not being held ransom by money or profit, right? You want to focus on your brand growth.
Correct. Yes, actually, it's good you mentioned this, because within the 3 years, we had several people approaching us and offering us to franchise in really literally putting money on the table and telling me I'm opening there and I'm opening there. Typical Middle Eastern countries, Eastern countries, Far East also. That's something we are totally against, obviously. The purpose is to find the right people. Well, now, for example, we're going to do our first move out of Barcelona, which is going to be Seville, and this will be led. It will be a joint venture with the ex-colleague also.
It's great to see that you're doing this in your venue and interacting and see directing your staff and all that. It's very nice.
Exactly. The purpose was always to find the right people. Then the location is also not so important if it's led by the right people. The only thing that we want is that we are not established in fancy cities. We wouldn't go to London, Paris, or New York, or maybe some suburbs of New York City. But the idea is really to go in human scale cities. Barcelona is a very good example, because you can literally walk around town and it's really you can go actually from one Billy Brunch to another, walking distance. So we have a guest having breakfast here and lunch at the other restaurant.
Nice.
That's cool.
Nice.
We have many guests coming every day.
Customer retention 101.
That's really good. It's it's also a strength of our concept. The strength of our concept is that you can have the same breakfast every day. You won't have the same dinner every day. You wouldn't have. You could go 1 week to Barcelona and you can find a great sushi place. You're not gonna go five nights. But if you find a great breakfast spot, well, you definitely will go five days, because you save time. It's good, especially if your kids are taken care of. I believe that's something that helped us growing quickly.
Very nice.
That's cool. And what will be the advice for future restaurant entrepreneurs?
Yes, really, I think you can accomplish anything if you do things step by step. I started making coffees, and now I have my team working. Today I was doing mostly administration tasks. I barely have to give hands to the operation anymore. I didn't think it would go that fast. It's really important to do things step by step, work with lists, and have short-term goals, have middle-range goals, and really what you say is that you have your list, and everything that you do every day, or at least every day, you do something that gets you to your goal. Okay. Obviously, you can have breaks, you can have vacations where you totally disconnect. I don't do it, but I understand.
That's all I was going to say. Since
Yeah.
when are you going on holiday?
My last holiday was 2.5 days, and it was more than enough. I totally recharged my battery. I'm ready to work 7 months now, at least.
But that's because you have the passion as well, you know.
I think, and it's also important to be aware that that anything is difficult, nothing is given, that you need to keep when you face the first complication and obstacles. Okay, it's very important to surround yourself with trustful people. Okay, in the beginning, obviously it's very difficult because you don't have anyone around you. So you start your circle, okay, and more the time goes, more trustful people you have around you. So, for example, I started alone, and then the first 3-4 staff that joined left little after because we figured out that it was not suitable, and then one trustful people came, and actually still here, and then another one came, and with the years, now I reach a point where I have maybe 7-8 veterans, like staff that are here since nearly the beginning, and that I can blindly trust, and this allows me to move on to further projects. Okay,
of course.
So for example, now I have the impression that I found someone trustful for Seville. Okay. Within a year, I will figure out if it was the right choice or not. And then if it's the right choice, then I can move on to another step, which is exactly what happened here also at a smaller scale. So we built the first restaurant. The first restaurant became trendy. It became successful and profitable. So then we invest in Billy Cafe. After 1 year, we opened Billy Cafe. That went smooth. And then after 1 year, because everything was under control, then we opened the Billy Brunch and Garden. Now I have someone trustful at the Billy Brunch and Garden. I left during February. I had to leave for a long vacation. I was back home in Switzerland, and I couldn't come back. And it figured out that everything went smooth. So that actually was good that it happened. So now I can go to Seville with
peace of mind.
Yeah, of course.
That's very important. So obviously, I think, last question, we can see you're a busy man. I know you need to go, but last question from us, I think, I don't know if Leah has, she talks a lot.
Watching the watch? No, it was just a thing.
Yeah. So you told us about your plans for the future. You're going to open Seville now. Where do you see... Where do you see? Where are you going to stop? Do you have a point that you know already that you're going to you say, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do, and I will stop there, or you're just taking things day by day or year by year?
So as I said before, I have this 1 year goal, 3 years goal, and 10 years goal. Okay, which actually the 10 years goal is more like it's more like a dream, you can call it. Okay, but the objective first year goal is to open in Seville. Okay. Then in Seville, we will figure out if this was the good moment or if it was too quick to move out of Barcelona. I think if Seville goes smooth, then we will see to expand in the south, and then we will start to consider going abroad. Probably that the first destination considered will be between Portugal and France. Okay, because it's
Portugal.
It's also geographically closer, okay. But obviously, yeah. One day we don't want to be as big as Starbucks. One day, this is not the goal, because as soon as you go, for example, as soon as you go on the stocks and you start to have administration and actions, and then you lose the authenticity.
Then you focus on profit instead of quality.
The idea will always be to maintain the image, to maintain the core, the soul, okay? And that we don't want a franchise. We want to keep control on the brand, on the locations. on the people. But maybe one day to have 50 restaurants worldwide, that would be something. Yes, maybe to
I wish
have
for you.
Amazing.
in the countries that have a meaning. Yes.
Uh-huh.
For example, obviously, I would love to go back to Switzerland one day. I would first open in Bern, the capital, because my sister lives there, my niece is there. So I also am someone very family oriented.
Yeah, you connecting with your friend or with the family as well at the same time.
I'd
Oh, very
definitely
good.
go. When we are in touch, you are in Portugal. I mean, it's also you need also where you have your people and where you can trust, and where also where it's accessible,
And where the brand fits as well, right? Because I think that's very important for you, right? The brand needs to fit
I would love
the
to be in
market.
Tokyo, but I think it would be. I think being in Tokyo, for example, would be too challenging.
Yes.
Because of culture shock, because of the distance, or being in Sydney, for example, it would be great to be in Australia. But then I don't want to live in planes, I
Yes.
like road trip to Switzerland, and that's it.
Exactly. And take the holiday on the way there, right?
Yeah.
Make that a little holiday. Great. Look,
we keep growing. Yeah.
Amazing. Look, we learned a lot. It's great to see somebody with passion. Great to see somebody that started something out of passion, and that passion drove you to where you are now, and is taking you further.
It's really interesting.
I think it's encouraging, and it's also it's a message to anybody else that's out there that thinks, you know what, I want to do something. I think you need to follow your passion. Like you said, go slow. But you're a great example to future entrepreneurs and to people out there.
It's a really positive image. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah. And we all wish that things get back to normal and that we can again get our team back and our customers back. We had so many international customers that were coming every weekend, every week, every month, every year. We don't see them. We don't see them anymore, and we miss them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them again.
Amazing. We're looking forward to go and have breakfast in Barcelona soon.
I've been there.
Pass by. I passed, but it was at the time of the of the pandemic, so obviously you were closed at the time. But look, it's been a pleasure, Blaise. Thank you very much for joining us here on Cracking the Kode.
Thank you, Billy.
Billy, yeah, sorry. Yeah. And I think we cracked the code again this time, Leah. Right?
That was cool. Yeah, love it.
Code.
Guys, you take care, and we're in touch.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, Billy. Bye-bye.
I think it was very interesting. It's good to see somebody with passion, somebody that clearly stands by what he believes in. Is not driven by the profit market.
What he achieved. Like, he started in 2018. He has already 3 businesses open, another one soon, and he's so humble when he's speaking, and this is something that's
it's amazing. I think it's good to see, and it's good to see that the core values of the restaurant business and hospitality still they're still out there. And they still work. And I think when you focus on good service, when you focus on great quality product, and you try and bring that family environment there, I think you really bring success to yourself. So it's good to see Billy Brunch succeeding and growing.
Yeah,
and
it's a great brand.
Yes, and hopefully we'll be talking about not only about our brand coming very soon, but with other. Obviously don't tell anybody. Yeah, keep it. Still. Yeah. And not only that, we're gonna have some exciting guests over the coming weeks. We had millions of requests to be on our interview. No, it was really hard to get somebody to want to talk to us. We're gonna have some exciting people coming through, some really knowledgeable people in the industry. I think it's gonna add something to.
And we're lucky to have Billy. And,
exactly.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks, we should have more, and I think people like Billy and people that are passionate bring a lot to our, help us crack the code, right? Since it's what we do every week.
I would say that.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we cracked it today. Billy cracked it for us.
Yeah, Billy cracked it.
Easy job, Easy.
Yeah, it was actually, a bit more relaxing,
Yeah,
but we learned a lot as well. So,
we did indeed. It's very nice. So thank you guys. Again, check our website. This is Billy Brunch website. Okay, wait.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, let's see where our editing manager puts it. This
Yeah.
is Billy Brunch website as well. Here, check it out if you're in Barcelona. Visit Billy. We're
Please do,
sure you're
it's
gonna love
amazing.
it. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Cracking the Code. See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.